I'm delighted to cross to Rosarito, Mexico, where we're joined by our friend Thomas Markle, the father of the Duchess of Sussex.
Meghan Markle says she was born in 1981. Simple enough, right? That's what the official story has been drilled into the world for years. But hold on, because her own father, Thomas Markle, is basically waving a giant red flag, saying the math doesn't add up. And trust me, when a father calls out his daughter like this, it's not just family drama, it's dynamite. And here's the kicker. An old issue of 17 magazine once described Meghan as 21 years old, back in 1997. Do the math. If that's true, it would make her 6 whole years older than the glossy, polished royal biography insists. 6 years. That's not a rounding error. That's a complete rewrite of her timeline. So the question burns, what's real and why does it even matter? Well, when Thomas Markle speaks, people lean in, waiting for warmth, maybe even reconciliation. But instead, his words land like sworn testimony in court. Every syllable is picked apart and each one chips away at the image Meghan carefully built for the palace cameras. Over the years, Thomas hasn't exactly held back. He's hinted, sometimes flat out claimed, that the Meghan he raised isn't the Meghan paraded around Buckingham Palace. His comments, they aren't just grumbles of a bitter dad. No, these words cut right into the heart of her story. Dates that don't line up, milestones that feel staged, and now, oh yes, an archival clue that screams contradiction. So let's lay it bare. Was Meghan truly born in 1981? Or has her age been airbrushed, rewritten, and tightly curated for decades? And the most shocking part? The evidence is hiding in plain sight, buried in one tiny, almost invisible detail.
You're prepared to testify for Samantha against Meghan? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Page 90, 17 magazine, March 1997. That's ground zero for this mystery. Some eagle-eyed online sleuths, bless their obsessive little hearts, were combing through old issues when they stumbled on a line, just one, that listed Meghan Markle as 21 years old. On its own, you'd skim past it, right? Just another line in a teen magazine. But here's the scandal. If Meghan was truly born in 1981, then in 1997 she would have been 15, not 21. That's a 6-year gap. 6. And in the royal world, where documents and dates are the foundation of everything, that's not just eyebrow-raising, it blows the whole story to pieces. This isn't rumor, this isn't some dodgy screenshot, this is ink on paper, a magazine archive for anyone to see. And in the monarchy's world, documents aren't casual doodles. They are bricks cementing a royal legacy. Birth certificates, marriage records, press releases, they're supposed to be untouchable. But bricks can shift, can't they? Remember Archie's birth certificate? Quietly amended weeks after filing. Meghan's given name, Rachel Meghan, mysteriously erased without so much as a public explanation. If something as official as a royal birth certificate can be rewritten, then what's stopping the same thing from happening to Meghan's age? And that's exactly why Thomas Markle's comments sting like salt in a wound. He's not just questioning his daughter's story. He's pulling the curtain back on whether palace-approved documents are really as ironclad as we think.
To be honest with you, I love both my daughters. I'm not happy with what one of my daughters is doing. And I don't know what caused her to do this. We've had this conversation before. She's telling lies.
Fans online, oh, they're loving this. They're already comparing Meghan's alleged age mystery to Hollywood's infamous little age games. In Tinseltown, shaving 5 years off your age is practically a career survival hack. But this isn't just about landing a casting role. If that page 90 line is accurate, Meghan's whole story shifts. She wouldn't have been some fresh-faced 20-something trying to break into Hollywood. She would have been closer to 30. And when she married Prince Harry, all those glowing headlines about a modern 36-year-old bride? Try early 40s. That's not a tweak. That's a full rebrand of her entire life arc. And here's the scandalous twist. If the palace's carefully polished narrative can bend something as basic as a birth year, what else might have been blurred, softened, or rewritten along the way? That's the storm Thomas Markle has set off. Because if Meghan's timeline were truly airtight, his words would have been dismissed as nonsense years ago, but they weren't. Instead, every new detail makes the contradictions scream louder. Take her Northwestern University years. Officially, Meghan graduated in 2003 with her degree in theater and international studies. On paper, she was 22, the perfect age for a bright young graduate. But then, alumni photos pop up. In one salsa club snapshot, Meghan is smiling in the back row. Totally normal at first glance, seems until you look closer. Her classmates in that very photo, many are now in their mid-50s. That places their birth years in the early 1970s. Were they just older students who came back to school? Or was Meghan's real age simply closer to theirs than the palace biography dares to admit?
Samantha Markle has never told me a lie. Every single thing that she has said about either you or Meghan has checked out factually. And she is now suing Meghan.
And the whispers only grow louder. Fans say the differences at alumni reunions are impossible to ignore. Suddenly, curiosity turns into suspicion. Because when you line things up, the 17 magazine listing her as 21, the alumni photos showing her among students born in the 70s, the picture starts to feel edited. And let's not pretend Hollywood doesn't have a history with this. One casting agent once confessed bluntly, if an actress is over 30, you lose half the scripts overnight. Trim a few years and you double your chances. For Meghan, trimming 6 years wouldn't just be cosmetic. It would completely change her career path. Instead of competing with 30-somethings for maternal roles, she could fight alongside 20-somethings for ingenue parts. That incentive? Oh, it was massive. And the scandal doesn't end in Hollywood. It follows Meghan right into the royal spotlight. Remember her 2018 wedding? The media couldn't stop stressing her age. 36 at the altar, a glowing modern bride. But if she was actually in her early 40s, that fairy tale framing collapses in an instant. And here's the danger. The monarchy is built on credibility. Every tiny detail, every fact is supposed to be unshakable. So even the hint that her age might have been rewritten isn't just gossip, it's a crack in the palace's wall. And cracks in that wall, they can quickly become full-blown crises of trust.
I have no problem facing her in court and disputing what she has to say.
Career-defining, yes, but this tension never stays buried in dusty Hollywood archives. No, it comes roaring back every single time Meghan steps into the spotlight. Fans vividly remember her royal wedding in 2018 when the media practically chanted her age, 36 years old, 36 years old, as if it were gospel. She was painted as the glamorous modern bride in her 30s, bringing youthful energy into the monarchy. But if she was really in her early 40s, that entire picture-perfect narrative crumbles. Commentators argue this isn't just about vanity, it's about how the palace shaped the story. If the monarchy's golden PR machine blurs something as basic as a birthday, then how much of the rest of the story is carefully polished, softened, or even erased entirely? That's why Thomas Markle's words echo so loudly. It's not just a father venting, it's a grenade thrown into the heart of royal credibility. Fans online can't get enough of it. They're swapping side-by-side pictures, circulating screenshots, and digging up obscure alumni lists. One detail on its own, maybe you shrug. But stacked together, the dominoes start falling. First page 90 of 17, then the alumni snapshots, then the curious edits to Archie's birth certificate. Each piece by itself is nothing, but together, they scream of a timeline that doesn't hold steady and whispers of different birth years. They've been circling for years. Some alumni rosters put her birth around 1976 or 1977. Old event programs apparently listed her in categories that didn't match her official record. Even casual conversations, fans claim, had people remembering Meghan as older than her publicity stated. None of these scraps are a smoking gun, but pile them up and the echoes refuse to die. And then we get the palace paper trail. Remember Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor's birth certificate? Originally filed with Rachel Meghan Markle. But weeks later, poof, her given names were erased. The document suddenly listed only Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Palace officials brushed it off as a consistency thing, but royal insiders whispered, unusual, very unusual. And if even that kind of record can be rewritten after the fact, then what does that say about records from decades ago? Fans began to speculate. Maybe this wasn't about paperwork at all. Maybe it was about control, a reminder that when it comes to image, even legal documents can bend. And here's the chilling part. If Meghan really was born in 1975 or 1976, then she wasn't a 36-year-old blushing bride at St. George's Chapel. She was in her early 40s. She wasn't a 22-year-old fresh grad in 2003. She was closer to 30. It doesn't erase her success, but oh, does it reframe it? And for a monarchy obsessed with optics, framing is everything. Commentators compared it to old Hollywood, Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe, their ages, names, and backstories retooled until they gleamed. But Meghan isn't just a starlet, she's a royal. And when palace image collides with the public record, the fallout isn't just gossip, it's a full-blown credibility crisis. By this stage, the whispers weren't whispers anymore, they were megaphones. Fans were piecing together timelines, headlines, stacking magazine scans, university photos, and royal documents side by side. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok compilations pulled in millions of views, and the blunt question screamed louder than ever. How old is Meghan Markle really? The memes, savage. One joked Meghan managed to graduate high school twice. Another mocked up a fake 17 cover, 21 going on 15. Suddenly, what started as an obscure magazine line had turned into a cultural flashpoint, and the media, they couldn't resist. Tabloids hinted at timeline contradictions. Royal commentators clashed. Was it sloppy editing, or was something deeper going on? Some defended Meghan fiercely. Others argued the persistence of these clues. Thomas's interviews, the altered birth certificate, the alumni whispers, made it impossible to dismiss. One GB News commentator even dropped the bomb. If Meghan is older than reported, it doesn't just cast doubt on her biography. It calls into question the palace's vetting process itself, and that's the nightmare. Because if the monarchy can't keep its most basic facts straight, what else might be curated? Reports suggest palace staff are quietly furious. No statement has been made, but insiders say the institution loathes the attention. Why? Because control is everything. Every headline, every photograph, every anniversary is micromanaged. A public debate over Meghan's true age is a direct assault on that control. And the comparisons to past royal humiliations? They're everywhere. Prince Andrew's disastrous BBC interview, Princess Diana's shocking confessions that blindsided the palace. In all these scandals, the real damage wasn't the content, it was the loss of credibility. And once credibility cracks, it's almost impossible to glue back together. Meanwhile, Meghan herself, silent, completely silent. Supporters argue it's smart, don't feed the fire. But critics twist it another way. To them, her silence looks like evasion. The longer she refuses to address it, the more it looks like there's something to hide. That silence becomes its own scandal, fueling speculation, which fuels headlines, which supercharges the viral storm. At this point, it's not even about Meghan's birthday anymore. It's about the monarchy's ability to control its story. If Meghan's biography is even partly questionable, then nothing feels safe. Was Diana's story fully told? Were Andrew's denials ever properly vetted? Was Harry's journey as straightforward as presented? Meghan's possible age contradiction becomes more than a curiosity. It becomes a mirror reflecting a much deeper problem. Can the monarchy's stories actually be trusted in the modern era? And yet, Meghan remains silent. That silence speaks volumes. Every time her name appears in the headlines, the question flares up again. Some fans cheer her for refusing to dignify gossip. Critics sneer that her silence lets the narrative spiral out of control, and the longer it hangs in the air, the more it cements itself as part of her legacy. Not just Meghan the actress, not just Meghan the Duchess, Meghan the mystery, a woman whose timeline may never perfectly align. And that leaves us with one chilling thought. If a single line buried on page 90 of 17 magazine can spark this much doubt, what happens when the next hidden detail surfaces? Because if ink can be smudged, if pencil lines can be erased, then Meghan Markle's story may not be written in stone at all. It may only be in its second draft, and the next revelation, it won't just rewrite her past, it could shake the monarchy's entire future, so stay tuned. Because this scandal, it's not over, not by a long shot.